friend, Roger Christopherson here again with another first listen review. Yes, I'm back from a short little absence. I had a little road trip last weekend, playing out in Hollywood Casino out in Toledo, Ohio, and I was gone for a few days, so wasn't just not able to get back in time to do any reviews in a decent amount of time. So unfortunately, I did listen to a lot of music. There were a lot of cool live stuff that came out last week that I checked out. Maybe I'll do a review on them at some point. I don't know, but it seems kind of pointless at this point, but I don't know, we'll see. But anyway, this one I just got yesterday. I've been listening to it quite a bit. It's one of my really, I don't want to say favorite, I say that a lot, but this is, of this style of music, it's definitely one of my favorite bands. I'm talking about Evergrey and their new release called From Dark Discoveries to Heartless Portraits. And if you're familiar with this band at all, you kind of understand that the title of the album is kind of covering their first album to their most recent one, kind of combining the two album titles together there. So I wasn't really sure what we were going to get. It's kind of, they were advertising it as an anniversary special thing for their fans. And the one cool thing about this is that aside from the music, is that they have like a 112-page hardcover book included in this, and a bunch of photos and stuff like that in there. So if you're like a big fan of the band, that's kind of a cool thing to get. I like that kind of stuff. The little trinkets and stuff they add into these things, don't care about so much, but there's like articles or books or things like that. I really like that. I like reading up on the history and stuff, especially when it's from the perspective of the band instead of outsiders. But anyway, so I thought that was kind of cool. As far as the music goes, wasn't really sure what I was getting until just recently. And basically what this is, it's it starts out with a bunch of live recordings. Like the first 6 songs are a bunch of live recordings, some of the most recent stuff, and then there's some older songs in there, and then there's a bunch of piano versions of 4 of the songs from their last album, and then there's demo versions of those same songs, and then there's one extra instrumental thrown in there. So a lot of stuff from the most recent album was really covered on this. There's only like 4 songs from their history that are past. Really cool songs, but anyway, so it's kind of a weird mix. I thought it was going to be more of a career spanning type thing, but which it does span their career, but it doesn't pick they got a lot of albums, and they only have 4 songs from their past albums, so they didn't go far into the past picking a whole lot out. But anyway, but it's still a good album. I still like this. I actually got into these guys like early 2000s. I was filling in for, I can't remember if I was playing bass at that time or I was playing guitar in the band, but I had to fill in for a little bit. I was definitely playing bass at that point. And I was talking to the guitar player about what we were listening to and stuff, and he mentioned the band Evergrey, and I was like, who? I hadn't even heard of them at that point, which is kind of a shame because they've been around for about 4 or 5 years at this point. And he goes, yeah, you gotta check them out. So I did, and I remember people talking about how they didn't like the vocals, so I just went on YouTube and just kind of looked it up, and I remember the comments saying stuff about how they didn't like the vocals. I'm like, what are you, crazy? The vocals are like one of the best things about this. The Tom England's vocals are some of my favorite male vocals out there. He sings with just such a unique style and passion in his voice that perfectly fits with the style of music they do. I don't know, it's just, I love listening to their albums. Some are a little bit better than others. I really like the earlier stuff a lot better than the more modern stuff that they've tried to do. I think they're trying to go a little bit more modern, and I like the earlier stuff they did, the style of music they did earlier on. But I don't dislike anything that they've done. So that being said, they kick in here with a couple songs from the most recent album, and actually it's funny because it kicks in. I'm like, it sounds like there's auto-tune on his vocals on the first song, so I don't know if I'm just imagining things or something was going weird there, but it sounds like there's auto-tune. It's the only song like that on the whole album that I heard that, but it sounded really strange. Musically, really cool. The thing I don't like about the newer songs is I think the style that they're doing, they're down-tuned and they're playing a lot of like really tight riffs, and I think they get a little bit muddy when they're doing the live. I've heard some other stuff they've done, they get a little bit loose, not as tight as they should be. Partially, I think that might be due to the fact that they're constantly changing members. Tom's the only original member of the band at this point. I remember when I first got into these guys, I think they lost like half their band at the point. I think it was a drummer and the can't remember who it was now. They've had a lot of different members, but they lost like half the band like right after I started listening to these guys, and unfortunately that's kind of always been a thing, changing members quite a bit. But I'm definitely not going to go down the list of everybody that's been in this band. It's just one of those bands that's just had a lot of people in it. So anyway, then they go to the 4 later songs, which totally rip. It just brings new life and a new way of listening to them. On Recreation Day, they had to do that one. It's one of their most epic songs ever. That's on here. The surprise one that I didn't really expect to hear was King of Errors, which is definitely a cool, heavy song. I love that song. So that's the end of the live stuff. Then they go into all these piano versions of the more recent songs. So if you like the band or like the song "Call Out the Dark," that's on here like this album 3 times. "Save Us," is the first one, however, and like I was talking about Tom's vocals. So it's just piano and Tom singing, and it sounds like they're pretty much just raw takes, which is cool. He gets a little bit off key here and there, which is fine because I like that. It brings out more of the emotion in the singing. I think that's more pleasant to listen to than anything that's been fixed, in my opinion. And it's not like it happens much. It's just like a little tiny thing here and there, but that's what makes it natural. It makes it sound human. I love that, and he does a great job on that stuff. I wouldn't want to listen to a whole album of this, so I'm glad there's only 4. I've got some other bootleg stuff where there's piano versions of some of their other songs, and I always liked them, and I was really happy with what they did here. Now, the demo versions of these songs were unique to listen to. I like listening to that type of stuff too. It's always fun to hear where they started. They're really well recorded, but you can hear that they're just not done yet. But it's just fun to listen to. The Silent Arc, there's the instrumental song on here. I don't know. I don't like listening to instrumental stuff if it's a song that's already had vocals. For me, I don't understand why bands do that. Because even if you take the vocals out, you're still missing a melodic part of the song. I mean, that's how they released it. That was the intention of the song. So when you take something away from it and release it that way, it's still missing something. At least to me. Other people may disagree, but that's just the way I feel about it. So this one, I was like, I would have really liked to heard it with vocals on it. But anyway, the rest of them are cool. Just unique. You could tell where it was headed. Obviously, the final album version is way more full and finished sounding, but it's always fun. I like when Whitesnake releases all their demo stuff and their little writing, and how David Coverdale releases like little snippets and how the song gradually built up. This isn't like that at all, but it's still demo. You hear like what they started out with, and if you go back and listen to the album and how it ended up, it's kind of cool. I enjoy that type of stuff. So anyway, going kind of long on this one, but this was a really cool album. I really liked it, and if you're an Evergrey fan, I think you're really going to like this album. If you're not an Evergrey fan, you should check out maybe some of their earlier stuff, like Monday Morning Apocalypse is actually a really good one. It's one of my favorites, or even Recreation Day. That's probably where I'd start, but this is a cool one too if you're already a fan and you're hesitating on it. I really enjoyed it. So anyway, talk to you guys on the next one. I almost forgot. Feel free to leave your comments down below, even if you disagree. That's what it's all about, just our opinions. Like, share, and subscribe so we can get more people listening to this band. This band should be huge, I think. But anyway, until next time, we'll see you.